Hello everybody, hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Connor here. We're here with a quick stream and I'm here because I'm really enthused about what I've seen from Phil Hay today. He's confirmed a few apparently transfers that Leeds United are looking at, all of which I'm extremely sort of enthused about. Many to go through. There's probably around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 options that Phil has specifically mentioned, which I kind of want to get into. Obviously, we know that Koch is going to Eintracht Frankfurt, Aronson's off, Llorente's off, Rocket and Christian, nothing finalised yet. But the players that we are allegedly looking at would take Leeds to championship glory, in my opinion. A lot of you guys might think, Connor, you're going a little bit overboard here, mate. But I think if we can assemble a squad like this, genuine squad like this, we're going to really and keep, a real strong nucleus of the team, keep the pace. Obviously, a few members are going to go out, but include a real blend of experience and quality at championship level, which in my opinion can also go to Premier League level and compete Premier League level. I think that is the right way forward. And to see Phil talking about this and see it's not just Phil, it's the athletic outlet and the brand discussing from different areas that they understand. It's not just Phil, by the way. He will collate all this information from different journalists around the country who cover those football clubs that we are interested in those players. And even if we are to get 60% of these players and then we move on to other targets, I'd be happy with that. I really would be happy with that. And we're going to get into that now. But before we do, everybody, smash a like on the stream. not going to be here for a mass amount of period this morning. This morning. I was here this morning. We're also going to be here tomorrow morning. And I just wanted to go over this because I was excited. Saw the list, got excited, and we're going to get into the thick of it as well. Would Love Hamer says Junior RM, I think I'm Dr. Jekyll now. How exciting. We need to keep Nonso, Somerville, Cine, Adams, Harrison. We bounce straight back up. How's things tonight? Not bad, mate. I had a burger about an hour ago. And you have a burger and it lays on your stomach. Whoa. But yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. Got to get Hamer as a priority. Yeah, you saw the 10 signings Leeds United should make from my perspective, and Hamer was in there, which is really nice to see. Me and Leeds United aligning here. I don't think so, but yeah, great to see. Hamer is a priority. Cloudy in York says Graham Phillips is a must for me. Yeah. So let's go through the list anyway. So goalkeeper wise, Carl Darlow rated. Something we already knew. Darlow once again brings a lot of experience, been at Nottingham Forest, been at Newcastle. I wouldn't mind Darlow whatsoever. I'm not massively convinced with his distribution and the modern game in which goalkeepers are encouraged to play essentially possession-based football, of which I would look at someone like Freddie Woodman. Freddie Woodman is that new breed of keeper. We've seen him absolutely thrive in that Swansea side a couple of years ago, where they were encouraged to play out from the back and play fast football, obviously spearheaded by Conor Gallagher and Andre Ayew in that side, a good Swansea side. Freddie Woodman was just fantastic at championship level. Got off the boil a little bit. There's not a lot of hype about him at this moment in time, which might work into Leeds United's favour. Once again, I always looked at Woodman, and I like this with goalkeepers when they have an ego and they're confident, because keepers need to be psychos, but they also need to have this air of arrogance, really, and that used to, in my opinion, really come out of Freddie Woodman. I really rate him as a goalkeeper. So if you're giving me the options, there's Angus Gunn there as well. Leeds have had a long-term interest, if reports are said to be correct, about Angus Gunn. Obviously, the former Norwich player, there might be a little bit of a connection there. And yeah, I mean, all of the options there I'm okay with at championship level. Freddie Woodman, I think, in terms of a long term, is a really decent option for Leeds United. I mentioned Marek Rodak this morning, which I've just seen Graham Noble just mention. But I really think that someone like Freddie Woodman is probably the one that I would go for there. I think, once again, the new breed of goalkeeper. His old man was a goalkeeper as well. Newcastle, then he went to Swansea. And I think that is the one I would go for when we're looking at goalkeepers. But all of them I would be okay with. I think it's just in the modern game and what Farke would want the goalkeeper to do, where I think Woodman would be better. Left back. How many can Connor rattle tonight? People on the stream, that is. Let's keep it PC. PG, I should say. And PG and PC. Okay. Number one, Manning. Obviously, Ryan Manning had a terrific season. Out of contract, would be a really good addition. Let's be honest, would be a really good addition. I think Burnley, and I'm not going to say I know, but you guys join the dots. I think Burnley are heavily interested in Ryan Manning. And I think this means that the dominoes are going to fall a little bit. Could be wrong, might not happen, all this sort of good stuff. But I believe that Ryan Manning is going to get a Premier League move. Giles, obviously Ryan Giles, who was at Middlesbrough last season, two left-backs who were outstanding in Manning and Giles. I think Giles is going to retain his place at Wolverhampton Wanderers, I believe. I mean, they've literally got no players anymore, Wolves. So, and I think Manning is going to go. He's going to go Premier League. To be honest with you, I think he's a little bit too good for the Championship. If you look at, I know that sounds daft, but the one that sticks out in my mind is when you've got a real sort of thriving League One to Championship left back, and he's sort of outstanding in a team like Ben Chilwell was for Huddersfield Town. I think when you're a standout left back, a lot of teams look at you and go, "Oh, okay," because the modern game is all about fullbacks nowadays. It's all about fullbacks bombing on, and they act as wingers. And I'm not going to say he's going to be a Ben Chilwell, but I think Ryan Manning will do well in the Premier League. I think he'd survive in the Premier League in sort of a bottom 10 side. So if Leeds were to get Manning, that would be an incredible signing. But I think the out of contract thing means that his options are vast now, because it's just how much you're going to pay on his wages. So I think Manning is going to be one that is going to go to the Premier League, to be honest now. And then the next one. So Junior Firpo, I think, as a lot of people are saying, is going to be out the door. He's going to be out the door. And we need him out the door because he's the most below average football player, probably one of the top 5 bang average football players at the club right now, which takes the bit really, because a lot of them are bang average, below average, I should say. So this is going to be the most controversial one. You've seen it on the thumbnail. We've gone over this for years and years and years. From my standpoint, yeah, Ian, it's Charlie Taylor. Now, football and ability, none of you would have, in my opinion, none of you would have a problem with Charlie Taylor. What you all have a problem with, a lot of you have a problem with, is the fact that Gary Monk came out and said that he'd never play for Leeds and he refused to put on the shirt, which is a load, from what I understand, a load of absolute bollocks. But for whatever reason, people seem to believe Gary Monk, the guy who would slag Leeds United off publicly for years after he left the club, the guy who would leave Leeds United in the lurch to join Middlesbrough with absolutely no understanding, and the guy who would also slag players off publicly and contradicts himself about Leeds United all the time. And sorry guys, I was on a bit of a roll there. My TV's gone. Hold on, I'm still going to go on this rant. TV's getting involved. TV doesn't want Charlie Taylor. But yeah, this is the same Gary Monk who said, I took flack and negative opinions from Leeds fans, but they never broke me. This is a guy who had a fragile ego. He would never invite certain individuals to team meetings who he didn't like, and he was doing this all to young players. And Gary Monk was always the problem. But for whatever reason, when Gary Monk came out and said Charlie Taylor would refuse to play for Leeds, everyone just saw that as gospel and just hated Charlie Taylor. So listen, I think football and ability, if you can just everybody can move away from the Gary Monk mantra and actually think to themselves, maybe that was absolute tripe what he was saying, and he was trying to obviously make himself look better for what he was doing to certain young players, allegedly what he was doing to certain young players in terms of freezing them out at that point and freezing them out of being the collective and being part of the team. If you can get your head away from that and just look at the quality of Taylor, this is a Leeds fan. This is someone who I know lives in the area. This is someone who I think would, at Championship level, do really, really well for Leeds United, and I think would bring experience, would bring Premier League experience. He's 29 years of age. He's been through it. He's been at Burnley for 8 to 9 years now. So if you can separate that, Gary Monk's opinion on Charlie Taylor and what he said, if you can separate that and just look at the actual player, I think it's a really, really good acquisition for Leeds. Was Taylor ever questioned when Monk said that? He's never said anything. Never said anything publicly, because he's not that, Yeah, it's just presumably it's not something that he wants to come out and do. So it's very easy for a manager to come out and slag a player off, which he did. But I can tell you, when the player can't do it back, and the managers know the players can't do it back, it's very, very easy to do so. Especially when Gary Monk essentially was saying all the time in his post interviews after Leeds United, obviously, that he was always looking at his long-term future. He was always looking at his long-term future. So he was never at Leeds for the long haul, and he knew that. So why would Gary Monk care? So I honestly, guys, I've never understood it. I've never understood it, and the hate he gets. And, you know, it is just what it is. But in terms of, if you're just looking at playing ability, then I genuinely believe that he'd be a really good addition, and would blend that with quality as well. And I know he's not been featuring a lot for Vincent Kompany's Burnley, but Vincent Kompany plays a very specific brand of football. But when Charlie was featuring at the start at centre-back even, which he can mould into, I think that's a really good option for Leeds United, to be honest with you. So, if Charlie Taylor ever does pawn the Leeds shirt, Leeds have had interest, by the way, in Charlie for a number of years from what I know. There is something there, and that would not surprise me. So if Ryan Manning was to go to Burnley, it would not surprise me if Charlie Taylor came to Leeds. Then what? Is everyone just going to start calling him a snake before he puts on a Leeds shirt because of what Gary Monk said in 2017 when he'd fly the ship pretty quickly anyway? Come on, let's be serious about this. No one really knows. It's all Gary Monk's word. Let's have a look. Phil, fair enough, mate. That's your opinion. I don't know why it's low, though. He has been playing in the Premier League for now in a decade. But yeah, if he's low, then fair enough, mate. However, yeah, I mean, listen, if we don't get Charlie Taylor, absolutely fine. And we've got Ryan Manning, brilliant. I'd really like Ryan Manning, but I think Charlie maybe would bring a blend of experience and quality as well. And if he's a Leeds fan, I think it's quite nice to decorate the club with Leeds. With people who want Leeds to do well. Stuart Webber, yes, maybe it's not gone right for him recently, and maybe you do have some about Stuart Webber. However, he is a Leeds fan. Charlie Taylor, he is a Leeds fan. I think having that in Liam Cooper, he is a Leeds fan. I think having that sort of cohort of player when you look at, and backroom staff as well, when you're looking at promotion, they only want the best for the club. And, I think that'd be a really, really good addition, to be honest with you. Anyway, let's move on. So Liverpool's Phillips is on the radar. So obviously that is Nat Phillips, 10 million quid. I think Chris, that's why he's the left back, mate. Show me a left back with an unbelievable right foot. It doesn't happen, and I wouldn't want Charlie to have an unbelievable right foot. He's a left back. We've not had a left back. I don't want a Berardi. I don't want a Stuart Dallas, who we don't know if the left backs or right backs. We want an actual genuine left back for the first time in about 20 years since Stephen Craney, or since Charlie last time. Anyway, Nat Phillips. I would really welcome Nat Phillips. I think his ball playing ability is really, really good. He's high value across Europe as well. Apparently there are a lot of decent clubs looking at him. I think that would be a really good addition. He's a brute, and I think he'd deal with that in the Championship. I've got a lot of mates who are Liverpool fans who, said that he'd head his grandma. But on the ball as well, I think it's overlooked, and it's really, really overlooked. And if we were to get Nat Phillips, I'd get a couple of really, good Liverpool fans I know on the channel. We're still working on the Norwich fan and getting that set up. That's all signed, sealed, and delivered, which is great. A real insight we'll get there. But this particular Liverpool fan is a big high praiser of Nat Phillips, and I think a lot of people around Europe really like him as well. So if Leeds were to get him for 10 million, I think that'd be a really shrewd signing. You've also got bags of potential there. If you were to sell him on, you're going to get a decent sell-on fee for someone like Nat Phillips. So if you look at a Championship central defender, you want athleticism, you want physicality, but in a Daniel Farke system, you want a ball-playing centre-back as well. And I think Nat Phillips can do all of that. So I'd be very, very happy with that. Leeds spending 10 million, absolutely no problem with that as well. We were a Premier League club. This is the ballpark now. Inflation in transfer deals is ridiculous now. So getting a good player in the Championship, it's not the days of £1 million Luke Murphy anymore. It is going to be 10 to 12 million for top Championship players. So that is the real world right now. Long-standing interest, like we've just spoken about as well. Appy, hey mate. The long-standing interest in Gustavo Hamer, we've spoken about him on the channel before. That'd be a ridiculous signing, a very, very good signing for me. Gustavo Hamer gets goals, gets assists, little terrier, tenacious, and was just brilliant for Coventry. Really, really good for Coventry. I like everything about Gustavo Hamer. I think he's Coventry's best player. In terms of impact, I actually think that ahead of, I know this is a ridiculous statement to make, but if you're to offer me Gustavo Hamer, what Leeds United need right now, a Gustavo Hamer or a Gyökeres, I would go for a Gustavo Hamer. I really would. I think he brings a lot to this Leeds side. I don't think we've had a player like Hamer in a long time, to be honest. Very different to Matthias Klick, very different to Pablo Hernandez in his own sort of realm in terms of how he plays, but has an abundance of quality and steps up for the big games as well. And I think in the Leeds fans, in my opinion, would love Gustavo Hamer. But I think there are going to be a lot of people after him. And obviously, we know Yoel Piroe, who was at Swansea last season, one of the top scorers in the Championship. This is what I've said, bully boy tactic. Go in, bully everybody else without the size of the club, the fact we've got Daniel Farke, the fact that we've got the San Francisco 49ers in charge. Bully everybody and just say, do you know what? He's one of the top scorers in the Championship last season. Bang, let's get him. He's a good profile, can work on either wing, can work centrally. Let's get Yoel Piroe. He's got bags of potential again, which we keep saying, which is a good theme of what Leeds are looking at right now. Go and get Yoel Piroe. Now, another interesting one that was spoken about was Sam Surridge. Sam Surridge, and look, notice the theme here, everybody. They're all domestic names, and that'll be the influence of Nick Hammond 100%. And I like that because they know the league. I don't want to go too far. Listen, there are some unbelievable players from the continent. We all know that, but I don't want to go too far away. We've gone too far away for too long. Let's stay domestic. Let's stay to sort of Premier League potential, loanees, and let's stay to high-quality Championship players as well. That's what I want. Sam Surridge. Like Sam Surridge, he's another one. And it's interesting. We were talking about Emmanuel Dennis not long ago, and I think I mentioned it on the Patreon, or it might have been another stream I was on. And I said, you know what? There's Emmanuel Dennis, but also at Nottingham Forest, there's Sam Surridge. And I remember all the Forest fans were getting very, very upset last season because it was it Ayew who was coming on and not Sam Surridge? And Sam Surridge had proven a lot the year before at Forest, but also at Bournemouth he'd done a great deal, and once again, bags of potential. So a player who was impressed at Championship level, of course, twice. Actually, he was signed by Bournemouth in the Premier League, I believe. But a player who, he's tall, he's rangy, he's done it before in the Championship and proven. And I like that. All these names I like. I'm a big fan of them. So yeah, I mean, if you're to offer me Sam Surridge or Emmanuel Dennis right now, I think it's a really close call. But Sam Surridge is a top operator at Championship level, and I like this. I'm all for these names, and I'm hoping that some of these names can get done. If Leeds United to get, as I say, 60, 70% of these deals done, and you can blend that with a Somerville, a Willy Gnonto, a Jorginho Rutter, and then you can throw in a Liam Cooper, a Stuart Dallas behind the scenes, or Luke Ayling, and you can maybe, I'm not as, listen, Tyler Adams, of course, yeah, but, I'm not as, I think he's replaceable. He's replaceable. If you can get 25 million quid for Tyler Adams and spend that on 3 top Championship players, some of which we've named, by the way, I think I wouldn't be completely against that. I really wouldn't, because I think his attributes can be replicated in certain individuals who play in the Championship right now, to be honest with you, and we've done a list of names on those before. But if you are to keep Tyler Adams' experience, in terms of, well, actually, no, Tyler Adams obviously a bit younger, isn't he? So he wouldn't have the experience, but I think he's got the captain tendency, which I think is very, very important. I think he's vocal. So I think those things that you can't really measure, aren't really tangible, are things where Tyler Adams would bring a great deal to this team. I think Tyler will go. But as I say, I'll be fine with that if we recruit well. I will be absolutely fine with that. I think he is replaceable, as I've said. The ones that I do want to really keep a hold of, Rutter, Somerville, Gnonto, if we could keep hold of him, would be absolutely fantastic. Sinistera, in a 46-game season, if he can play 20, 25 games, that could be the difference. And on top of that, if you've got players going out, get some of this, mind my language, shite out of the club. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. I was hearing today, Christensen's, there's no solidified offer for Christensen. Get him gone. Send it, someone, I'll drive him there. I'll get in the Ford Focus and bomb down from Manchester. Get him in the car and we'll drive him wherever he wants to go, free of charge. Get rid of it and bring some actual proper championship quality in, or Premier League loanees. So I like what I'm seeing right now. Elias Chair, fantastic shout, Joe27. And when we're talking about central attacking midfielders in the Championship, someone who can replicate exactly what Buendia was in the Championship, Elias Chair is an absolutely fantastic shout, and someone who I've not thought about, and that should have made my list, because Elias Chair has always been fantastic at QPR. So yeah, really good shout there, mate. He would be that sort of Pablo Hernandez. He's very different to Pablo Hernandez, but he would be that almost replacement. We've never replaced Pablo fully, and him working alongside Gustavo Hamer. Oh yeah, just a blend would be fantastic. So yeah, exciting names there for Leeds United. Hopefully an exciting next couple of weeks. Nick Hammond's got a real job on his hands. 3 and a bit weeks before Leeds United start the season. The shit is going to have to hit the fan very quickly. We're going to have to start throwing some mud and seeing if it sticks. This is going to have to start moving for Leeds United very quickly. So let's hope that some of these additions, I'm just going to read out the super chat, maybe. Can deals be made pre-EFL ratification? Russ, it's a good question, mate. A really good question. Maybe the deals can be done and then signed, sealed and delivered after the EFL approval. I don't think any of us know yet, mate. I think a lot of people who are making comment about this EFL approval don't really know the formalities of it. So I'm not going to put comment out there. I'm not sure, mate. But I'm hoping that Leeds are able to get some of these signings done. As I say, for me, let's have a look at some of them. I'm absolutely on board with Charlie Taylor, as you guys all know. Absolutely on board with that. I'd like Woodman. If Ryan Manning's going to come instead of Charlie Taylor, that's fine, but I would be well on board with Charlie, well on board with Nat Phillips. I think it'd be a great addition at the back. 10 million quid as well, what a statement. Long-standing interest in Gustavo Hamer. If they get Hamer, that's such a good signing. And Piroe and Surridge, if you're offering me one or the other, I'm actually going to go Sam Surridge. Believe it or not, I'm actually going to go Sam Surridge. I think he's more of a profile of what we would need. I think he can replace Patrick Bamford. I really do. You know, you guys all used to laugh at me because I said Ollie McBurney is pretty much the same striker as Patrick Bamford, and I think a lot of you guys, seem to think Patrick Bamford was the best player on planet Earth, but he never has been and never was. And I think a lot of what Patrick Bamford did was a very similar profile to Ollie McBurney. I think Sam Surridge is an elevation of them both, to be honest with you. You can come back with stats, all this sort of stuff, but I think if you get Sam Surridge in the right frame, if you in the right headspace, I should say, working in the system, Sam Surridge for me gets you 20 goals in a season. So it's all goals. Guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here. Give us a like. Let me know in the comment section afterwards what players you go out and sign. Have you got any other names? We're going to be back tomorrow morning with your rumour mill, everybody. Thank you so much once again, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.